infinite chapter of those insane spoilers, and a lot of new information has come to light, including about the revolutionaries, Sabo, the death of Cobra, Shanks, and more, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Chill the parking with it, and smash that like button if you enjoyed these One Piece reviews and want to keep them coming. Join the Nakama by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future One Piece videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. We jump where we left off at Kamabaka Queendom, where Sabo explains, talking to only Ivankov and Dragon, that all three objectives were taken care of. They officially declared war by destroying the Celestial Dragon symbol. So in the spoilers, I thought this was a world government flag or something, but this is even better, specifically targeting the Celestial Dragons. It's also interesting how it's the revolutionary Monkey D. Dragon trying to take down the Celestial Dragons. Dragons are associated with both sides. I wonder if that's a coincidence. A lot of dragons in One Piece. Anyways, Sabo adds that they rescued Kuma, which unfortunately didn't last long since he returned to Marijoa himself, but still the fact that they succeeded there in front of everyone freeing him, even temporarily, is huge in and of itself. And thirdly, they freed as many slaves as possible, which is great to hear. They even managed to find and destroy the Holy Land's food reserves, which, as I mentioned in the spoiler video, is great to see. Love how they employ strategic warfare like this rather than just trying to overpower the world government physically. And with the good comes the other side too. Now they got the world's attention, and so the Navy ended up turning into big guns. Dragon mentioned that they've triggered uprisings in 12 nations where they held influence, and 8 were successful, and Ivankov mentions that one of those vanished, namely Lucy. Good to note there are nations that successfully rebelled and didn't manage though. I wonder if Imu thinks that would be too much, but still wonder why the others were doing so far. Although the headline censored everything, we're told the 7 other nations have all declared their intent to no longer pay the Celestial tribute or comply with the exploitative exporting of their resources. It is really dangerous politics here, and I'm loving it. Ivankov even said that the Revolutionary Army is attacking world government supply carriers all over the world to stop resources reaching regional. And while the Revolutionary Army is finally in action and in a big way, this one line by Ivankov is great too. Ivankov says, they say the Holy Land's high up location makes it an impenetrable fortress, but we'll see how they like living under siege. They'll finally get a taste of what it is to live in poverty and go hungry, end quote. And that line hits different. I think we all like a reality check from people like St. Charles, who feel so entitled to privileges, bring suffering upon others. Ivankov wants to give them a taste of their own medicine, and this is what the revolution is all about. And I love to see how excited Ivankov gets, not being able to contain himself, screaming out, "Yeehaw!" That enthusiasm is most definitely infectious. Meanwhile, Dragon points out that they may not be able to cut off all their supplies, but they are squeezing them. Slowly but surely, they must be struggling by now. I love to see the patience involved in these tactics too. It's not just about flashing things, but also about slowly wearing them down. And it has to be like that when taking on such a big entity like the world government and the Celestial Dragons. But here comes one of the most interesting parts of the spoilers now. Dragon says unexpected, but they're not a foe. They just take all these lines down. Our real battle will start when they mobilize God's Knights, which at this point are Holy Knights, but same idea though. Here is where we see the Shanks-looking shadow in the center silhouette, and the figure has a similar coat, build, and sword in the same place. Since this is the center of the image, this is probably not a coincidence. Although a lot of people in the comments don't believe this is Shanks, a lot mentioned it could be a clone or a relative, even twin brother. I've even heard theories that these knights could be clones of the strongest fighters in history, which would make them too overpowered probably if they even exist, but a hype theory nonetheless. People have also noticed that when Shanks supposedly met the Five Elders, they never showed his scar or his scar, leading some to assume that this was totally a question and not Shanks. Very interesting stuff indeed, and can't wait to learn more about this.
Well, Spyro, today is your... You have chosen...
have been looking pretty weak recently. Aokiji is now an enemy of the world government. Revolutionaries seem to be designated to admiral without Dragon even being present. It seems like this new strong group was desperately needed to make the world government an actual superpower again. But let me know, what do you think about this Trace-like silhouette? You're the leaders, 9 silhouettes, so the Holy Knights are more numerous than the admirals. It's possible though that they will be broken down further into certain categories. We'll see, but there will definitely be some standouts among them, no doubt, like the central Shanks-like one. It's funny, Malcolm that says the Sabo realized it would be their number 1 Bargain Sabo, or should I start calling you Admiral Sabo? That's hilarious, and I still love that title. Dave Sabo says, I'm not too hot, all that thing, which hot fire, flames, it's pretty fun stuff. Dragon is not shaken though, and as I guess, this misunderstanding was cleared up very easily, even though Oda teased us that Dragon might butt heads with Sabo over it. He just says though here, it doesn't matter what the truth behind Cobra's assassination is, the news reports have made you a hero already. He explains that in the eyes of revolutionaries everywhere, authority and the government are hated for being subhuman. However, Dragon notes that there are some compelling among them too, and Cobra was in a class of his own. Everyone considered him to be an outstanding ruler. He said misinformation spreads faster than nuances like this. Then Sabo interrupted with a point that it might be cold to say, but while he feels bad for what happened to Cobra, he thinks he can live with the way this all played out if it helps fuel the flames of rebellion. His determined face says it all, and Dragon calls him unshakable. Ivanko, like us, is wondering what really happened, so begs him to spit it out the truth. Ivanko shows him the paper of Sabo above the dead body of Cobra and asks what really happened, and is there truth in the story that he assassinated Cobra? Ivanko says they should try to figure out what happened and looking for an explanation for it, which in my view is a bit extreme, but okay. I mean, in my view, they gotta trust Sabo and put revolutionary figures over authority figures at the end of the day. But Sabo, for his part, looks surprised at the picture before we jump to the flashback. We're taken back in time over a month ago at the home of the gods and the whole land of the Shore, where the revolutionaries are attacking the so-called land of the gods, which in itself is quite an act. Just the idea of so-called gods being attacked by the mortals is a thought-provoking idea, and a powerful image. The celestial dragons are shocked that they attacked their beloved symbol, and now they're taking away their exquisite food. We have reason for marching celestial dragons like the following: does the jealousy of these vermin know no bounds? The figure says he doesn't even want to keep their head after they're disposed. You see a celestial dragon riding on the back of a former Ryan pirate, and just as the celestial dragon is about to launch fire the pirate and shooting him, the pirate slave is rescued by Katasu, one of the commanders of the revolution. He's the cool crow aesthetic guy. Katasu.
Watch college football. Live. Dragon free just like time. Share your journey on Facebook and get inspired to try something new. No matter where you are or who you are, Facebook gives you the power.
The cool crow aesthetic guy. Katasu takes his celestial dragon's gun and asks, who do you think you are? And all I can say is, Viva the revolution, baby. It is here. Love to see them finally taking action against all of these injustices. The celestial dragons thought they were untouchable for way too long, so it's good to see the revolutionaries finally act and burst into love. Katasu is blasted by firearms, but it doesn't really matter because as we find out, he is a seeming logia that allows him to be unhurt by bullets. And so it seems his crows are just soot he is shaping in that form. And soot is a black substance formed by combustion and associated with smoke, fitting for a revolutionary army which is constantly smoking up in terms of fire, and Katasu's soot is produced metaphorically by the flames of the revolution. So it's something that accompanies these flames. Meanwhile, we see cool Cat Revolutionary Commander Lindbergh and Admiral Fujitora. Katasu goes to attack Fujitora while Morley stabs Admiral Reignited. It must be said though, he looks pretty unhurt, but he is angry. Morley is calling him a boy likes to play rough, which is hilarious. Admiral Reignited says Morley is the one who's destroying the city, but the Celestial Dragons are aiming at the Admiral too, saying he's as bad as the damage he's inflicting, and one even insults Admiral Greenbull, saying he'll hang if any of them get hurt. Greenbull is clearly worried, saying it's impossible to fight here, and thinking, get out of the way already for the Celestial Dragons. It's clear even the Admirals are annoyed by these entitled Celestial Dragons. Meanwhile, Fujitora appears is getting less than Greenbull, as great to see, and he is in the process of, get this, calling a meteor strike. That's so hilarious. A meteor strike while they're supposed to be preventing damage. He's even called an idiot and told that's a terrible idea. It's clear that this is limiting for the Admirals because the revolutionaries can go all out, while the Admirals have to try to avoid putting the place and hurting the Celestial dragons. So that explains in part why the revolutionaries were so successful. They definitely attacked in the right place. It's even said that there are 2 admirals here.
Hey!
If they were anywhere but the home of the gods, that would be more than enough power to turn any battlefield upside down. Some Superior agents included, stating even if you ignore the handicap, the revolutionary captains are pretty on the standard ground, definitely high grades. Sabo is showing he sees Kuma with Carlos, his father. Carlos also hasn't given up on getting Shibushi and making her his wife. Sabo assures Morley that they won't let them get away with it. We even see Bonnie running after her father Kuma in the flashback. Then we get Vivi watched by Lucci, and she asks for Garp instead. And I don't blame her, he's more trustworthy and definitely more powerful. She thinks it's a joke that Lucci's watching her because they didn't protect Shibushi. Then we see King Cobra and he's about to see the Royal State, but it said only he can enter. So obviously it's looking like the Royal State are going to kill this one good ruler. And honestly, I can see why he's a threat to them because he'd be the first to flip sides. It's a bad example in their view for other good rulers, or at least not. The naive Cobra tells Chaka that this won't take long and to go out with Vivi. He says she's always been a mischievous girl, so they can't let her out of their sight, which is some good intuition. Someone should definitely be watching it right now. The narrator says, what's the purpose of this meeting? And obviously it appears to be the murder of Cobra, and eventually he even said some things that made Gorosei decide to act. But from the looks of it now, I bet that Gorosei knew that the threat for one reason or another, killed him and ended on Sabo, happened to pass by the dead corpse or something like that when the picture was taken. Either way, we are at a high point for one of the most hype groups is taking action and shining. If you love the revolutionaries like I do, you won't want to miss my Monkey Dragon and all his commanders explained video, link on screen right now and in the description.
It's Reese's season. This is intense.
It's time for the Green Lantern reboot. Right now in DC Comics, they've started up a line-wide initiative known as the Dawn of DC as an attempt to get everything in line and then created a soft reboot of brand new #1s and jumping on points. This is Comic Historian. We do audio dramas of your favorite comic books. Now we're going to do Green Lantern issue #1. The miners all sit in the dark. Mines have collapsed around them and now they all wait, hoping that somehow they will be saved. When suddenly there's a sound of shifting dirt and rocks, and green light floods into the darkness. You look up eagerly. He's back. One of them whispers with a smile, and Hal Jordan holds out his arms, using his constructs to shift the rubble away from him. Hey guys, you need a lift? He asks them with a smile. It's later that day that Carol Ferris is in her office, taking a phone meeting while running her company. She turns to face the TV and her eyes widen as she sees the news. The Green Lantern has returned. She curses to herself, hanging up the phone, but before she can leave, her assistant buzzes in. Miss Ferris, there's a Mr. Jordan to see you, the assistant tells her. I'm not here, I have a meeting across town, she says as she rushes out of the office. But as she makes her way out to the car, she discovers Hal waiting for her. Hey, long time, he says to her smirking. And Hal tells her that he's back and starts to compliment her, but she cuts him off. No, this, she says, pointing a finger to his face. I moved on, I have a boyfriend, she says, getting into her car, and Hal finally tells her he just needs a job. I think it's time that I put down some roots. Besides, have you ever had a better pilot? He asks her, leaning it down and talking through the window. Carol finally sighs, telling Hal to come back tomorrow morning so that he can have an interview in a test flight. And as she begins to pull out of the parking spot, she stops, glancing at him through the window. Where have you been? Throws her a lopsided grin. I'd love to tell you all of that over dinner. He asks her, and she groans, quickly pulling away, leaving Hal standing alone in the parking lot. Elsewhere in Coast City, people at the bar are watching the news and cheering, happy that the Green Lantern has returned, and commenting that they already feel safe. But someone is watching them from a nearby TV. A wooden figure with purple skin and yellow eyes. It would seem that Sinestro is also happy.
Oh no!
1 month earlier, we see how this all came to be. We find Hal Jordan sitting on the roof of his brother's old trailer, looking up at the stars, thinking about what he gave up when he quit the Green Lantern Corps when it was taken over by the government, known as the United Planets. Here's to the view of the heavens, he says, holding up a cold bottle of something. He finishes it, wondering if there's any more to his life other than sitting up looking at the stars. On his nearby radio, the music is cut off and they report on a supervillain attack in New City. He turns his attention to the city in the distance, seeing the explosion. And he doesn't hesitate as he grabs his keys, jumping into his truck. He revs the engine and speeds towards the truck. He gets close to the action, but has to stop as people rush by him, trying to get away from the danger. He gets out of his car, watching as an armored villain fires a blast of energy out of the face. Run from Nicholas! Run from Steel Fury! Shoots, and one of the cops rushes past Hal, ordering him to run. Our bullets aren't doing anything! We've been ordered to leave until someone can get a superhero tech to come do something. And Hal ignores the warnings and keeps watching. Back in the current day, two fighter jets are flying through the air, wondering how someone like Hal Jordan could get to try out with Ferris Air. Suddenly, he buzzes past them in a green jet. Good morning, aviators. This is Captain Hal Highball Jordan, joining you on this fine summer day for a bit of high-flying fun. Back over in the control room, Carol orders Hal to take it easy on her fighters, ordering the others to take it to the obstacle course. The jets drop down into a nearby canyon. The pilots try to start Hal off slow, but Jordan doesn't want any of that, and he begins to push his jet even faster, dodging and weaving through the canyon. Carol continues to order him to slow down, but Hal refuses, and as he reaches the end of the obstacle course, he pulls up sharply, smashing the bottom of his fighter against the rocks and blowing it up into a massive fireball. Hal! Carol screams out angrily, but over at Ferris Air, the cockpit of Hal's drone fighter opens up. He looks at everyone sheepishly. Hey Carol, guys, these drones are really something, he says, and it doesn't take long for Hal to find himself in Carol's office, where she yells at him for destroying an expensive piece of equipment. She tries to explain to him that only the military are using manned fighter jets anymore, and they're phasing out. Hal, drone fighters in the future, a future that Ferris Air is investing in. She tells him that Hal apologizes. Carol, I didn't. He begins to tell her, but she stops. You didn't think, Hal. You never do. We go back to 1 month earlier and see how this whole situation is going. Hal gets back in his truck and he revs the engine, stepping on the gas and flying forward. He slams the old truck into Steel Fury, and then he backs the truck up, getting out and pulling out a tire iron. Hey buddy, don't you know? No one wrecks this city but me! Hal snaps as he cracks the villain across the face. Steel Fury looks up, barely scratched, so Hal looks down in shock, recognizing the suit that he's wearing as the old Manhunter design. That suit, you need to get out of here with it right now, Hal begins to say, but Steel Fury hits him with an energy blast, knocking him away. I'm not getting out of nothing, he shouts, before he then explains that he bought the suit online. I couldn't get it to work with electric until last week, but the damn thing suddenly turned it on by itself. He says with a smile. He then walks over to the downed Hal and fires another blast, but he turns in shock as Hal is now glowing. What the? How are you in a pile of ash? Hal holds up his hand, blocking the blast. That suit was made a long time ago by some annoying blue aliens. Its power source is manipulated by willpower, and buddy, there ain't anyone on Earth with more willpower than me. Steel Fury backs up as Hal suddenly transforms into the Green Lantern. Who are you? The Hal smiles. Take a wild guess. Now there is more to this issue. We have a story about Jon Stewart finally coming home after becoming a willpower god, and there's another one about Guy Gardner, which overall just makes me super excited because that means that the only prominent Green Lanterns that are missing are Kyle Rayner, Jessica Cruz, and Simon Baz. That means they could pop up at some point. But I wanted to hold off on the backup stories since they're kind of short, and I want to do them as their own separate videos. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, because I really am a super fan of the Green Lantern. Now, the Manhunters, for those who are wondering, are one of the classic villains of the Green Lanterns. The Manhunters are the original police force that were created by the Blue Aliens, the Guardians of the Universe. They created the Manhunters as an android unit that would go through space and basically be the galaxy's police force, but they are robots and androids, and they deemed that the problem with the entire galaxy was the people living in the galaxy. So they basically tried to eradicate everything. So the Guardians of the Universe then created the Green Lanterns to eradicate the Manhunters, and then created the Green Lantern Corps as we know it. So that's pretty much where we are with the Green Lantern storyline. Now, if you enjoyed this brand new soft reboot Star Trek Green Lantern, check out our video on the Superman reboot. We also did one on the Superboy reboot, and I can also link a classic Green Lantern episode down below, like Blackest Night or Lights Out. All of those are going to be down below, and if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing and joining our little community. community here. We also have a Patreon and we have a Discord. All of that will be linked down below. Thank you for your continued support, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time.
Now through October 13th, you can join Planet Fitness for just $1 down, $10 a month. With free fitness training in most clubs open 24 hours, it's the most convenient place.
Yeah, COVID, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only good thing I can say about 2020 for me was the fact that for some reason I managed to lose 7 pounds. I get it. Yeah, I lost 70 pounds. People asked me what's the secret. He said, what's the secret? They closed all the goddamn restaurant. That's the secret. I didn't know how to cook. That was the secret. It was being home with a phone and really getting eating. So yeah, we were on tour and we got home. We all turned on our TVs. Watched movies. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy person, but the only cult only movies. Pacific Coast Chili's. And I apologize for using the same stereotypical but that's the one that they use. Because that's the one they listen to at time of crisis. They couldn't be any other voice. They couldn't be the hombre que hay en esa máquina. Nomás tú hizo, okay? Nomás tú, you're gonna go home to the house, and he probably comes to the house. He said, "Oh, and hey, come back another time, it's okay." That told me. It couldn't be any other voice. It couldn't be, I'm saying, well, this is your girl, like this, hope you're going hungry. You're going hungry down, and if Kobe shows up at your front door, you're down. I'm there really much. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Just in case. It couldn't be any other voice. It couldn't be, okay, you're going to go home, you're going to be with your family, and then, oh, you don't want to laugh at the black people. Whatever, that's your opinion. I like it. I'm fine. But yeah, just 2 weeks. That's what they told us. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 months. And then a half a year. And then 2 years plus. And little by little, they told us these folks that there's COVID-19. Come to find out, there's people over 45. Okay? People who are overweight. Diabetics. No chickens, really. Most at risk, Latinos and African Americans. Shit, I come to find out I was 85% of the underlying conditions. Over 45, overweight, diabetic, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Apparently, COVID is my Tinder now. Someone finally wants to swipe right. And her name is Corona.
Why don't I have the iPhone 15 Pro? At T-Mobile, new and existing customers can get the iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. Amazing. Where are we?
What's up, and welcome to Versus Battle Cards. Today, we have an episode that's heavily requested by my community specifically, so let's see how well you know how to pick them. It's gaming's greatest monkey catcher ever versus one of gaming's greatest monkeys ever. It's Spike from ABC versus Diddy Kong from Donkey Kong Country. Matchup. Instead of the characters fitting each other because of their connections, they actually fit each other because of their specific roles. It's unique. It's like asking if Spike is truly the greatest monkey catcher, or if Diddy Kong will be the one that gets away. According to the Discord poll, Diddy Kong could very well be the one scratch on Spike's unmarked record. But only the research will reveal the truth. So let's dive in. Kong will have plenty more chances to catch up, but I'm not going to keep it a secret that Spike wins the Arsenal category. He's always been one of the most consistently stacked characters I've ever covered in a versus shoot, so let me explain why. Spike has loads of gadgets for catching monkeys, like his time net, which can teleport them to the professor's lab, through time and space. Yeah, and an instant battlefield removal as his primary weapon. He's pretty crazy. Then there's the Stun Club. It can damage enemies or stun monkeys. He has a monkey radar, allowing him to locate monkeys so they cannot hide from him. He has a slingshot that can fire regular, homing, and exploding pellets, a sky flyer which allows him to reach new heights, a super hoop which gives him insane speed boosts, a super speedy and remote detonated RC car, a giant boxing glove that can shatter metal crates, a water net so Diddy Kong won't be able to escape by swimming either, and a giant satellite laser which homes in and targets enemies. Yes, this is PlayStation All-Stars footage, but I promise you that Spike does use this satellite laser in canon in the Japanese exclusive aim escape between monkeys. In that game, he also has super speedy roller skates to help with his agility, and mini floating turrets that can shoot lasers. That seems like a lot for catching monkeys, but when the main monkey Spike is trying to catch is a psychic mastermind that can travel through time and space, yeah, it makes sense. Now, Diddy Kong may not be as packed as Spike, but he's still a pretty loaded little fella. As a monkey, he's very agile. He can flip, climb trees, swing on vines, cling to opponents' faces, and he loves bananas, where he will accidentally, on purpose, toss the fuse behind him when he's finished, or his opponents to slip on. He can toss wooden barrels like his big buddy DK, but he has plenty of stuff of his own too, like his peanut pop gun. He can overcharge this pop gun for a huge explosion, but it can also stun Diddy too. Then there's his double-barreled jetpack, allowing him to fly at blinding speeds. He can also create musical shockwaves by playing a guitar, like he's in Sonic Underground or something. That's about all Diddy can do. It may not be quite as much as Spike, but it has been enough to get Diddy through multiple adventures. He definitely knows what to do with the tools he has. Let's see what the YouTube predictions are thinking so far. On the speed, unfortunately for Diddy Kong, it's another win for Spike. Spike is able to dodge bullets, missiles, and lasers from the weapons of Spectre's monkey minions, but he's also able to outpace the monkey minions themselves, which is saying a lot considering their reaction time is quick enough to pilot a UFO across the solar system in mere minutes. This was calculated exactly to about 33 times the speed of light. Now Diddy's pretty speedy too. He's able to react to musket fire from Cable's weapons, and his barrel jetpack is able to fly him up to orbit in mere seconds, a massively hypersonic speed feat, but it's still several 100,000 times slower than anything Spike can do. Now you may be asking, shouldn't Diddy Kong be trillions of times faster than light from scaling to Mario and such? And it is a pretty common debate, but I'm on the side that disagrees with scaling the Donkey Kong Country characters to the rest of the Mario cast. For one, it's pretty clear that Donkey Kong Country is a separate continuity from the main Mario series. The Rabbids crossover in Mario Odyssey's Moon Size proved that. 2. Diddy Kong isn't one of the 7 star children in Mario lore. And 3. Diddy Kong never appears in any of Mario's main adventures, only in some rare spin-offs. It's okay though, because Diddy is still pretty strong on his own, like the time he flew around with his jetpack so hard that when he crashed into his own moon, it fell out of orbit. This speed comes out to about 7 teratons of TNT. That's, funnily enough, country level. Get it? Donkey Kong Country. However, once again, Spike kind of blows it out of the water. Now, Spike doesn't have many strength feats on his own, but with him being able to defeat Spectre and physically overpower him, he should scale to the rest of Ape Escape's cast. For example, his cousin Jimmy, who survived this continent-sized explosion on the moon, or Dr. Tomoki, who survived the self-destructive Spectre space station. And considering the space station was larger than the moon itself, and was built to survive chopping the Earth in half, that explosion must have been pretty strong. Like, planet level strong. Maybe you guys don't know how to pick it. But we're not done yet, so let's see what the Discord predictions are thinking.
Watch football all season long, live and cable free with YouTube TV. Try it free. There's plugins all the time.
Finally found something that Diddy Kong wins in. Experience. Sure, Spike has gone on a few spin-off adventures outside his main quest, but Diddy has been DK's sidekick for ages, helping him out on multiple adventures, and even having some adventures of his own. This monkey is no stranger to danger. However, it's still not quite enough to help him win this last category, as Spike still takes skill and intelligence. Skill-wise, he has shown that he is a master of pretty much any weapon you put in his hands, and he's able to maneuver just about any vehicle he steps into almost instantly. He's also able to outplay these monkeys no matter what they have with them. Trapdoors, shuffling machines, banks, jetpacks, and intelligence-wise, he's able to outwit Spectre, a psychic monkey whose mind control powers are so strong that they can control hundreds of monkeys across time and space. So, to the surprise of no one except for the few people who voted in the Discord poll, the winner of this fight is Spike. I think this might actually be the very first fight since the joke battle between Remy versus Diva, or one fighter won every single category. It was just a complete stop, unfortunately. Diddy had an impressive arsenal, but Spike's blew it out of the water, with one even including battlefield removal hacks. He was also hundreds of thousands of times both stronger and faster. While Diddy may have gone on more adventures than Spike has done a ton more in the few adventures he has had, piloting a wider variety of vehicles, using a ton more different gadgets, and fighting a wider variety of enemies. This may have been an interesting matchup, but Diddy Kong just didn't have it in him. Just another monkey for Spike to check off his list. Let me know what you guys think of this outcome. Do you agree? And thank you for predicting in this episode. Be sure to predict the next one in the comment down below, and comment in my Discord server, voting in the Discord poll, or making a video prediction. Next time, we have a matchup that's been discussed by everyone, not just the Versus community. It's YouTube versus television. The internet's first viral star versus television's viral star. That's right, it's the one, the only Red Figglehorn versus the one and only Ernest P. Worrell.
Members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Mantis ranks up there as one of my favorites. But here's the thing, she is a terrible and annoying character in the comics. What's interesting is that for creator Steve Englehart wanted Mantis to be one of, if not the most important character in the Marvel Universe. You heard me right. Mantis, of all characters, is supposed to be the center of everything. The reason that never happened, though, is because she was so widely disliked that no other writer wanted anything to do with her. But that didn't stop Steve from trying his best anyway by shoving her into every single book that he possibly could, going so far as to put her in comics at completely different companies without any approval from Marvel. Hello and welcome to Commentary. Where I talk about comic books, my name is Drew. Let's talk about it. But before getting too far into things, I want to give a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Dave. I love that it sounds like some dude named Dave just paid me for a shout-out. I recently went back to school, which means that I've been putting out less videos. But the downside is that cash has been pretty tight lately. But that's where a cool banking app like Dave helps out. With their extra cash feature, you can get up to $500 instantly with no interest, late fees, or credit check. Essentially, you're just getting a little help from the future version of you, which means you have more money to fill your tank, catch one bills, or get your car repaired without having to wait for the next paycheck. Millions have already gotten help they need with extra cash, and you can too by downloading Dave today at dave.com/commentary. Once again, that is dave.com/commentary. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. Mantis made her first appearance in Avengers number 112 in 1973. It was created by Steve Englehart and Don Heck, but mostly Steve Englehart. She was the girlfriend of Sword, an intimidating supervillain that fled to Vietnam and spent his days drinking away at a depressed student. It's here that he met a prostitute named Mantis, who helped Swordsman get back up on his feet and became his lover. By today's standards, this origin story can come across as demeaning and stereotypical. But considering that the United States had just pulled out of the Vietnam War earlier that year and the country was known for the large sex industry that popped up during it, it's not all that surprising that this was the backstory that she was given. Though, to give credit where credit is due, Steve Englehart really seemed to care about empowering Asian characters in comics, having been the creator of Shang-Chi, and also portraying Mantis as more than capable of taking care of herself through her martial arts and empathic abilities. Mantis made herself known to the Avengers by helping the Scarlet Witch take down a bunch of robo-racists that were harassing her over dating Vision. After their team up, they just walk on over to the Avengers mansion. But Captain America is justifiably pissed off that this unauthorized person was allowed to walk into their headquarters with no questions asked. And those concerns were pretty warranted, since Mantis let the swordsman follow right behind them, and she's like, hey guys, real sorry about trying to kill y'all a bunch, but can me and my girlfriend join your team? No, absolutely not. Sure, sounds good. The swordsman deserves another chance. Remember, Captain, give the Avengers 3 vengeance. Fine, I guess I'm out. I also like that during this whole exchange, Iron Man's helmet has an itty bitty little smile. Now we're good members, Mantis kisses every single man on the team,